Ways to adjust alignment. This is an eccentric bolt and washer. You can see the bolt looks like it's off center of the washer. Actually, the washer's off center of the bolt. And there's brackets on the side of the housing that the washer fits in between. So as you turn the washer, the bolt moves back and forth, left and right. This is the toe adjustment on the right rear of the beast, Porsche 987. I used a Sharpie to mark where I'm starting at. And I need to move it 3 millimeters. I need to move the back of the tire in 3 millimeters and the front of the tire out 3 millimeters. Toe on this is supposed to be 5 minutes of a degree, which is about 0.7 millimeters on my 19-inch wheels measuring. So I need to move it. All you do is move the wheel, and that is as far as the eccentric bolt will move the bolt over. So I will get up and check it, but that's how you adjust this one. This eccentric up here, you can see it. This blue one, that is the camber adjuster for the right rear of the Porsche. I have it, as far as it'll go, positive. As in the bottom of the tire is in. The bottom of the tire is in as far as it'll go, and I'm still at 1.7, 1.8 I think it is. I can't get any more positive than that for tire wear reasons. For performance reasons, I want to go more negative. I'm about 2.5 to 3. But my tires wore out real quick, so I'm trying to make, I got life, a little bit better tire life. However, it won't adjust anymore. It's adjusted as far as it can before the eccentric washer lets it go back out again. So I have either worn out bushings in there, or my ball joint over at the hub is got some play in it. Either way, I can't get any better camber without replacing parts. Toe, we'll see what we get when I check it. But this is one way to check toe. Oh yeah, this is just toe, this is just camber. On the Miata, you have almost the exact same setup, 2 eccentric bolts on the same piece of, the same triangular piece of lower control arm. You adjust them both for camber, and you adjust one, just one of them, normally the front one, gives you rear toe. You adjust both for camber, and just the front one for toe. I'll be doing something on that too, but eccentric bolts are very common for camber adjustments in a rear toe on Miatas. So I just showed you the eccentric bolts on the back of the Porsche. This is under the Miata. Eccentric, that's an eccentric bolt. See how it's flat there and flat on top? And that's the nut. Back there is the other one. This is the lower control arm on the Miata, front. Well, this one, make sure you can see that enough. This one is pretty much straight in line with the hub. For the most part, this bolt, you loosen this, hold that nut, hold that bolt, loosen this nut, twist the bolt, and the eccentrics move against the cages there. That's how you adjust camber. The back one, because it has the angle way back there, that's how you adjust caster on the Miata. Actually, what you do is you do both of them for camber and just the back one for caster. But eccentric bolts can be used for all kinds of stuff. On the Miata, the front, it's camber and caster. The back of the Miata, which you can't see from here, it's almost the exact same setup, except this one is camber and that one is toe on the rear of the Miata. So if you just look at it, there's going to be one that's pretty much in line with the center line of the wheel. That's your camber. The other one that's off, if it's in the back, it's going to be for toe. If it's offset in the front, it's going to be caster. Now this is a rack and pinion steering, and here's how you adjust it. You can see right here's the tie rod end. My hand's on it. It's got the big square. You put a wrench on there, put another wrench here, you can see the threads, and you loosen that jam nut. Loosen the jam nut, then you put another wrench right here. And you twist the tie rod, the inner tie rod, to take the front of the wheel in or out, if that makes sense. And once you get where you want it, when you tighten this jam nut back up, it will move part of a millimeter, maybe up to a millimeter. This jam nut puts pressure on it. So if you get all adjusted perfect with the jam nut loose, then you tighten the jam nut up and you go look at your measurements, it's all off. Yeah, you gotta do it at least once. You gotta see how much it moves when you tighten the jam nut, because it really does tighten it up. It takes all the slack out of right here. Okay, so rack and pinion, almost all rack and pinions have this kind of adjustment. You have a inner tie rod that spins. There's going to be a spot to put a wrench on there, a jam nut, and an outer tie rod end. Almost all rack and pinions, so pretty much every single front wheel drive car is going to have that. And, well, actually, I think every car since the early 90s has this. All right, so you notice that the steering arm is in front of the axle. If I walk over to my Mini, let me walk over to my Mini, get up and walk over to the Mini. There's the drive shafts, and golly, there's the steering rack. I turned the camera off trying to move it around. So, all right, the Miata, here's the wheel. The Miata, the steering arm was up here, where the brake caliper is. It was up here, because it was a front steer. The Mini, stick this on in here. Come on, my little light should come on. But this is a tie rod end. Outer end, jam nut, threads, spot to turn the inner tie rod. It's a rear steering for the front axle. Okay, I'm going to explain that later, but I just wanted to demonstrate or show you how front wheel drive cars have rear steering. Almost all of them do. And almost all rear wheel drive cars, vehicles, have front steering. This will come back up again in another video. While we're talking about toe adjustments, I'm going to use every vehicle in the shop. This is the frame and whatnot of a 68 Kaiser Jeep CJ6. It has front steer, because it's rear wheel drive mostly. This is the steering arm. This is the driver's side tie rod, inner and outer end, with a adjustment sleeve. You can see the threads right there. You can see the threads out here. This one has pinch bolts, which are loose. You loosen that, loosen the one here, which is also loose, and you twist. See how I can twist it? You twist the whole darn thing, and that's how you set the toe on this one, on this tire, and your steering wheel. Not sure you can tell this. It's just a little bit to the driver's side. And then the same thing on this side. You got a pinch bolt there, pinch bolt over there. You twist this, but you got to loosen up the steering stabilizer bracket to adjust this one. So this one, you set toe and steering wheel with this. So those pinch bolts and the sleeves were very popular on American vehicles. We're going to go look at another American vehicle, four-wheel drive, with the same concept. Here we are underneath the cow dog. More suspension parts. This is called the pitman arm. This is the steering box. This that goes back to one of the steering arms on the driver's side for the Chevy 10-bolt open knuckle. This is called the drag link. And you can see the pinch bolts. You loosen those, you turn the adjusting sleeve for the front and rear drag link, and that sets your steering wheel position. Then down here, we have the other steering arm for this side, and there's a jam nut, and you loosen the jam nut on this side, hold the rest of the tie rod still, and way on the other side over there, loosen another jam nut, And that is how you set your toe side to side. So drag link sets your steering wheel. Once you get the wheel straight and the steering wheel centered, then you come and do your toe for the other side, because you already got the driver's side set. The passenger side you set, and that sets your toe. And that is how most four-wheel drive trucks are very similar to that, with Chevrolets were. Your Jeeps, your modern Jeeps and Ford, solid axle, I think the Dodge is the same way. Instead of having a drag link go front to back, it goes across, and they meet in a Y on the other side over there. Then you have the drag link and tie rod meeting way over there. It's called crossover steering. Now, I have no vehicles that have crossover steering here, so you just gotta trust me on that one. Anyway, that is another way to adjust toe, and there is no. The only way you can adjust caster on this one is to turn the axle shaft and put shims under the axle, and there is no camber adjustment. When we used to go to teacher training, they said use every tool in your tool belt to get the message across. Well, I'm going to use every car in the front half of my property. All right, this is the strut tower, the top of the strut for Jennifer's Subaru Outback. It's your basic front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, mostly front-wheel drive. These are the bolts that hold the strut on. You see there's no way to adjust it. There's no adjustment to camber on this vehicle. You have that. That's it. It bolts in. Top of the strut's there. Okay? Then we go over to the Porsche. Walk inside. Keeping the cats off of the paint of the Porsche since that did not work out well. And I'm really impressed with the way the Porsche was made to be worked on. You see the same thing. You got 3 bolts. Those are the top of the strut. But you see that groove? It is slotted. I could push this in. I could push it in a little bit. Right now it's all the way out, and I still have too much camber, which means my lower control arms need some work. But this, I could adjust the toe or the camber with all new, every part in the suspension set perfectly. Supposedly I can only get 0.8, maybe 0.9 negative camber. But right now I'm at 0.8 of a degree negative camber with it all the way out. So that's how much my lower control arms are worn out. But you see, I took the nut off just so you can see the slot. That's adjustable. BMW, I thought would be adjustable. BMW Ultimate Performance or driving machine. Now, you see it has the same thing. 1, 2, 3. There's no adjustment. When I put struts on it years ago, I bought struts that had camber adjustment plates. So I got to loosen these 4 nuts up, or bolts up, and then I can move the strut in or out. Even though the car says you can't adjust it, I bought shock absorbers with camber plates. And I also got the adjustable shock absorbers, which is very helpful because like on this side, I got adjusted way out. And I got them, they're at the same setting. That one's in the middle, this one's way out. But the camber at the wheels is the same. So having camber plates is nice, but you have to have shock absorbers meant for it. You can't just add camber plates to the top of your shock, because then your car's going to be an inch too tall in the front, and that looks goofy. Doesn't drive very good either. Anyway, that is another way to adjust camber. Actually, the only way on a strut vehicle. Subaru, can't adjust it. BMW didn't want you to adjust it, but you buy the right shocks, you can adjust it. Porsche, it came adjustable. I like that.